Mission clock is running. Go, go, go.
Ladies and gentlemen, SideStrafe back with another episode of the Strafing Run. And today I thought I would take some time out to discuss Call of Duty Black Ops 4 Blackout. This is the Battle Royale mode for the game that everybody and their mother is talking about. Got a chance to play it over the weekend. Have to say, thoroughly enjoyed it, minus a few points that I'll get into during the video. I don't really like Battle Royale games, or at least I haven't found one that I like. And I played Fortnite, played PUBG, played a couple of smaller ones that have kind of died out by now, and just couldn't get into them. Fully respect a lot of them and where they come from, but they're just not for me. Blackout, what makes this one different? Well, it's not necessarily groundbreaking in terms of gameplay. You're taking some CoD flavor and you're giving it the Battle Royale treatment. But for some reason, that just seems to work. The simplicity of it, in a way, is what sells me on it. When you look at a game like Fortnite, with its crazy building mechanics, it's just too much for me. You know, it's hard to take years of shooter experience and then all of a sudden have to adapt to a situation by building a wall or a staircase. I just can't do it. It's not what I'm looking for in my shooter. I totally respect it, but it's not for me. PUBG, well, player unknown. The game's just too clunky. It doesn't feel optimized yet. They seem to be focusing on adding hundreds of cosmetic items and building multiple maps versus actually polishing basic gameplay elements, smoothing out that foundation. And, you know, the shooting mechanics, certain things, maybe even for the sake of some realism, not necessarily working out for the gameplay. I couldn't get into it. This one, though, it just felt right. You know, I grew up with very deathmatchy games. CoD is not known for realism, obviously, but it just has that level of twitch that I'm comfortable with, and the gunplay just feels really, really solid when I fire the gun, when I pull the trigger. It's satisfying. You know, the sounds might not necessarily be realistic, but they have enough of weight to them that it just feels pretty satisfying, you know, especially with a good pair of headphones. Beyond that, I think the thing that impressed me most was how smooth this giant map ran. And when I had heard that CoD was going to have a Battle Royale mode, I was like, wait a minute. These guys normally make maps that are the size of shoe boxes. You're telling me they're going to use their existing technology to make a large map that can support 80 plus players? I'll believe it when I see it. And, well, here it is. You know, this thing was running with about 88 players to start. And then they, at the last few hours of the beta, opened it up to 100. So it was kind of their way of slowly testing server capacity, I guess. And it seemed like it was running okay with 100 players. And there's plenty of space. There are some tricks. There's some smoke and mirrors with how trees render in the distance. You'll notice that if you zoom in, sometimes the trees will be like pixelated to the point of seeing something reminiscent of Minecraft. But it's not that bad. It's not jarring or very noticeable, or at least not noticeable enough to affect your gameplay or immersion experience. But there's definitely some clever engine trickery going on here to pull all of this off. But I mean, as you can see, hopefully from this video, the levels, the environments within this large map look great. High resolution textures, a wonderful color palette. I think that maybe they could have done a little more with the sci-fi or near future theme that they seem to have going on within the Black Ops franchise currently. There are some areas that you can tell things are definitely not present day, and some portions of the map are actually made up of other maps from the Black Ops franchise. So if you're familiar with the estate map or firing range. Asylum, I think, is actually from Zombies mode. Maybe, I'm not sure. I never really played Zombies. But it's cool that they've done that. It's nice nostalgia for players that have experienced those titles. And it just works. It allows them to take some pre-existing designs and put them into the level, which, of course, equals a quick turnaround time as well, perhaps. But it also makes you think that they could maybe continue to utilize other maps or ideas from past games and put them into additional maps if we see more than this one. But honestly, right now, this map for me has been quite the bag of fantastic. Of course, there's room for tweaks, but I hope they focus on this one for a long time, optimize it, polish it, and, you know, stick with one thing before moving on, and don't pull a PUBG where they're, you know, pushing out 3 maps before the first one's even truly completed. I just think that you have to solidify that foundation. But anyways, with the footage that you're looking at now, it's just a couple of different drops, a couple of situations that I got myself into. These are solos. Sadly, I never got first place in any of my solo plays. The only time I got first place was in a couple of group matches, which I didn't manage to record due to audio recording issues. I, of course, have to be able to separate my vocal tracks from sound effects, and I can't do that without a lot of extra software shenanigans. So the footage that I've captured separately from the stream is, of course, that of solo drops. But it's still fun. It's a good way to get warmed up. And you know what? When I first got in, I said to myself, okay, we got to get first place. We got to be the last man standing. But I found that I was enjoying the gunplay so much that it was more important to me that I'd get into some good firefights. Camping to be first, not for me. You know, I think there's a time and a place for it. A little bit of it here and there, not so bad. But for me, it was all about moving. I wanted to get some kills. If I was stuck in the circle and there was nowhere else to go, fine. Sit around, pick up loot, wait for something to happen. But for the most part, I wanted to get into fights. And a lot of times, even though I didn't come in first, I would have some really kick-ass fights. And the battles were different each time. They were dynamic and exciting. And I think that is a selling point. I felt like I was able to win a lot of the fights in this game because of my previous experience with deathmatch titles like Quake and Unreal Tournament. I kind of felt like I was traveling back in time with some of the 1v1s that I was having. And I think that's why I'll continue to solo on top of playing team matches. But here we are in Nuketown, which some of you will be familiar with, or what's left of it anyways. And it has a really interesting underground mechanic. But coming up soon, not just yet, but soon, is going to be one of my biggest complaints about Blackout mode currently. And that's going to have to do with the body armor system in the game. Now, you're probably already noticing that the time to kill is actually kind of high for something with the Call of Duty title on it, right? Normally you play CoD multiplayer and the time to kill, or TTK, is pretty low compared to a lot of games. It even had a lower TTK than Battlefield titles. You shoot people, they die fairly fast. So it was more so about hand-eye coordination, reaction, or reflexes. But here, you start your game at 150 health versus the old-fashioned 100 that most shooters have. You have bandages, 2 different types. Well, there's bandages, then there's med kits, and then there's this thing that I'm picking up, trauma kit, which will give you 50 additional health or heal you all the way up to 200 even if you're at 1 point. So now I have 200 health. I just picked up a level 1 body armor. There's level 2 and then level 3. The biggest complaint currently in the community revolves mostly around level 3, which also includes helmet protection on top of the chest protection. Now we're about to encounter a player that has level 3. I only have level 1. Here he is around the corner. You can see I am hitting. You hear those metal impact sounds. I'm hitting him, but it's hitting the armor. Armor, 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 armor. You can even see that icon. He comes around the corner.
All assets lost.
He wins the fight. Now, we're actually going to take a look at his kill camera. We're going to see exactly what happened from his perspective. He's got a sniper rifle out. He whiffs it. I hit him. He pulls out an LMG. So he's got 113 rounds. He hits me. I hit him. He's down to 10 health. We got him all the way down to 10 health. And ladies and gentlemen, right there, I can't give you a better example of how bad the body armor system is currently in the game, or at least as of that weekend beta test. I mean, if I wanted gear-based PvP, I'd go play World of Warcraft. I understand that Battle Royale titles have to allow for a little bit more survivability because it's one life, that's it, you're out. Fine, I get it. You can include some body armor, but the level 3, I just think it needs to go. Delete it from the game. The level 2, for me, is even questionable. If I had it my way, there would just be a level 1 and that's it. That's the universal body armor pickup. Keep it simple. As the time to kill, even without body armor, is already extremely high. You have trauma kits. You have almost endless supply of bandages and med kits that you can pick up. So you end up with what I call horde, hide, and heal gameplay, which is basically you get all your loot, you get all the bandages, med kits, whatever. You take fire, you hide, and you heal, and then you come back out, you take fire, you hide, and you heal. That, for me, is one of the worst things about all of the BR games. They're all the same, right? It's all about shooting, take cover, heal up again to full health, and then engage. It rewards bad gameplay. And I think here, there's that extra layer with level 2, mostly the level 3 body armor system. Doesn't matter if you have better reflexes, hand-eye coordination, game sensibility. If that person has level 3 body armor and you're the last 2 survivors and the circle's closing in, well, guess who wins the fight? The person that has the gear. And right now, the other issue is that when you do win a fight against somebody with body armor, you end up destroying that armor to get through to their health. In other BR games, normally you can loot the leftovers of the armor that the player had on them and use it for yourself. So there's not much incentive to push or enter a fight. You can end up getting first place in this game by camping. Get the gear. Save up on bandages, med kits, trauma kits. Get yourself into some level 2, level 3 armor. Ride the circle. Hide in buildings. Hide behind trees. Wait it out. You let everybody kill each other or damage each other to the point where once that circle closes in, you'll be able to charge in or have them charge you with full body armor and health. And I didn't make that up. That's what's been happening. Most of the time, you run into the final player or players if you're doing duos or squads, and they've got level 3. They've got sniper rifles, bandages, trauma kits. Something has to be done. I'm sure something will be done because it is the game's biggest complaint. By the way, here you're about to see a guy take a shot with the 50 cal sniper, chest shot, lung shot. He's still kicking. Now, there was no armor notification, so that was just hit points. So he must have probably had 150 health and took the shot like a champ. He's probably healing up right now. But imagine if he had body armor. And, you know, maybe better aim. I wasn't using a rocket launcher to take me out. This guy here, We take his body armor off. You can tell by the sound effect, but he just jumps away from the rest of my shots. You know, some people have been suggesting that maybe if you have armor, you move slower, which would put you at a massive disadvantage in a game that's extremely fast-paced. You know, the jumping around. There's no negatives to wearing armor at all. Maybe there could be. There's plenty of room for compromise in any case, right? But in my opinion, level 3, delete it. Bring it down to game sensibility, skill, hand-eye coordination, reflexes. That's what COD's about. BR or no BR, I thought that's what we expected out of it, sort of. Anyways, maybe that's just me. I don't know. In any case, I feel like it can only improve because it's the most talked about thing in the game. Everything else, I've loved. Only minor critiques for maybe some of the UI, inventory management, being able to swap out attachments for your guns and things like that. All stuff that can be resolved in time and probably without too much effort. There's already a lot of great feedback out there that fans of the game have been throwing at Treyarch, and I'm sure we'll see some of those things. But biggest concern, definitely the body armor. I imagine it's only going to get better. I can't see it getting worse. So if anything, I think I'll still be happy playing this game. But we're going to start to wrap things up here soon. In closing, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 in general, I would say if you're a fan of Battle Royale, definitely keep an eye on this one. It is going to be a $60 product, which is going to give you normal Call of Duty multiplayer, zombies, co-op, and, of course, Blackout BR. There is no longer a single-player experience, so if that's important to you, you might want to pass on this one. But otherwise, I will be streaming it when it comes out on the 12th of October. And feel free to join me. A lot of people have told me that it's at least fun to watch other people play it, even if you don't play it yourself. It's some good eye candy. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. I will definitely see you on the next one.